What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. So today we're going to be looking at a new item mastery and rune set that people are using on AD carries at the moment, which I've been testing and I really like. This isn't brand new, it's just much better this patch. It's really good for Jhin, by the way, and also a few others, and there will be a little summary at the end of this video. So if you decide to skip halfway through, make sure you watch that where I put everything together. So as we said, this is probably best on Jhin at the moment, but any Ghostblade or Essence Rush AD carry can actually do this if they want to. We're talking about getting a longsword first instead of a Doran's blade. It builds into Ghostblade faster, and that is one of the biggest things. You access that sweet 20 lethality a lot earlier into the game. It's been around for a little while, but now lethality is better. There is even more reason to do it, basically. Doran's blade is a dead item. You have to understand that eventually you're just going to sell it. You buy it because it gives very good stats for the price and it helps you lane earlier into the game. Longsword is a component item, so it builds into your first item. You get that 450 gold sooner, which is the price of the Dorans if you started that way instead. That's something a lot of people miss. If you sink 450 gold into a Doran's blade, you do effectively delay the purchase of your full item by that 450 gold because you spent it on that instead. Obviously, it is worth it in a lot of cases, a very good item to help you early in the lane phase, but when you phrase it and you think of it like that, suddenly you start to wonder if it's really worth that 450 gold to do it. You also have to remember that while you get less stats, you get more potions, and in theory, you will recover from really bad trades easier and be able to stay in the lane a bit longer if you struggle in the lane phase. You can make this even more cost efficient by getting a refillable potion as well, which lasts you the entire game. After a bad trade, lifesteal over time is better, but the quick fix is definitely potion. So if you suck ass in the lane phase, you trade like a monkey, then this might be really good. So if we compare the two, longsword is 350 gold and 10 AD, Doran's is 450 gold, 8 AD, but 80 health and 3% lifesteal. You get one potion with your Doran's and you get 3 with the longsword or a refillable. Basically, you gain a tiny amount of AD, but that's not really important. You lose the 80 health and 3% lifesteal from the Doran's. You have to remember, lifesteal is only worth it when you're actually able to attack the minions. If you're too low to get close to the minion wave and alter them, then it's a useless stat, and potions would actually help more. 80 health is only worth it as well when you're fighting. If you're a passive player and you just want to farm, you sit back or you can poke from range, then you don't really need that as much. Ghostblade is a really good item right now. Lethality is a killer stat as well, and Ghostblade gives us the most in the game. Getting this earlier is a really big bonus in power, but it does make us a little bit weaker up close and personal because we have that less health. So who would you actually do this on, right? Jhin is going to be the best one because you never get close anyway. Well, never is a bit of a strong word, you do, but you don't need the extra health, and once he has his Ghostblade, he can snipe from range with his ultimate, his Q, and his W. In the lane phase, he can push with his Q without getting too close. You don't really use lifesteal very well at all either. This is a really big point. You only have 4 auto attacks in your chamber, right, and then you have to reload, and your abilities aren't going to apply lifesteal either. Basically, you can't auto over and over like a normal AD carry, which means you don't really get that percentage lifesteal back. Misfortune is another good one because you can poke from range with your Q anyway. You don't really have to auto attack much at all. You can do, but you use your ultimate from range. Your autos are more finishers really. Lifesteal is obviously used on her, but not always required if you're sat back anyway, and Varus is basically the same as Misfortune. High range poke build now with lethality rather than close with autos. I know a lot of you guys are going to ask about Lucian actually because you rush a Ghostblade at the moment, but he's very short range basically. Lifesteal works on him with his passive 2 shots as well, so it is kind of good to have Doran's. The issue is mostly the diving in close range without a Doran's is not going to feel good. Like, his abilities really hurt, but so do his auto attacks and his passive, and we'll be using them a lot more than these other guys. In my opinion, you'd be taking a bigger risk doing this on him, but you could definitely do it if you wanted to, or you just wanted more potions. The biggest risk you're going to have with this is you have lower health. Your early fights versus Doran's are going to be a lot closer. Like, 80 health actually does mean a lot. There is a way around this actually with our masteries, which you're going to see in a second, but if you use this, just be aware that you need to pick trades smarter or not commit unless you're sure you have the kill. For me personally, I've survived so many times with like 50 health or less bot lane, like level 2 or level 3, and without a Doran's you'd be dead. The other thing as well is we have 150 gold after the longsword, so we can get a refillable potion or 3 pots. The refillable is 125 health and you get 2 charges, or it's 150 health per potion, right? 3 potions is basically the same cost as 1 refillable, and you can only take 2 back to the lane, which is bad versus very high poke. By the way, I mean you get 2 charges of the refillable, so you get 2 pots basically, but to be honest, I don't think you should take more than 2 potions back anyway. If you get it on your first back for other people, or with this at the very start of the game with your longsword, you're going to use a lot of it actually throughout the game. It's more of like a top up after bad trades rather than recovering your health the entire way back after almost dying. And also the downside is you have no biscuits. The good thing is you only spend 150 gold on pots for the entire game. It's a really good habit to get into to not waste gold. It comes down to personal preference really, but if you make a lot lot of mistakes. Normal potions will heal for more and might be a little bit better. If you take this new mastery page though, in my opinion, refillable is even more worth it because we're not getting biscuits, and that's why we get a longsword anyway. There are some key downsides, but this new mastery page fixes it a little bit. The new mastery page that a lot of people are using right now is 18.0.12 instead of 18.12. The biggest reason why is because we get a reduction in our summoner spell cooldowns. That's really good for us keeping safe. Honestly, AD carry in 2K17 is a nice meme, but it's pretty true. We get bent over by most things in the meta right now. Flash and heal are our best tools to survive a gank or anything like that, and I actually love having it up more so I can not play a gray screen simulator when I pick AD carry. We also get increased lifesteal with this as well, which is really good for late game, but some of the spells can be used aggressively as well. Having a reduced cooldown means that you'll have your heal up before they do if you use it at the same time. It gives you like a 30-second window to abuse where you can heal and they can't, and they're not going to expect that at all. The main part of going 18.0.12 is you get some of the spells up more, but there are actually other things as well. On the third tier down, you can either get an 8% increase on heals, shields, lifesteal, or regen, or an extra 50 health. The 8% increase is really good when you have a good amount of lifesteal. As with everything that's percentage in the game, it's better when we're healing and critting for more, so it's better the later the game goes and the more items we have. Draven though is a bit different. He used this really well in the lane phase as well with a Bloodthirster and his Warlord. So if you're taking Warlords on an immobile AD carry, consider taking the extra healing from this. It's really good. Jhin though, for example, doesn't really use lifesteal that much, so we can get an extra 50 health from this. That's only 30 less than Doran's would have given us. This is basically where we make up for skipping Doran's and getting a longsword instead. Now we're only down 30 health, but we get a Ghost Blade 450 gold sooner, which is starting to sound like a much better deal. One of the biggest differences at the moment though is whether you take Bounty Hunter, Double-Edged Sword, or Battle Trance in the Ferocity tree. All increase your damage but in different ways. Bounty Hunter is by far the best late game, but you have to have killed 4 out of the 5 enemy champions before you get more than the others, and that's actually pretty hard. It's more for junglers in my opinion. Double-Edged Sword is 5% damage the whole game, but we take more damage as well. Battle Trance is a 5% ramping up over 5 seconds in combat. So Koreans love Battle Trance. Let's just get that out of the way. I think on auto attacking champions this is the way to go as well. You want to auto a lot to kill stuff anyway. Double-Edged Sword is more for high range stuff. So Jhin, Misfortune, Varus, you can get away with taking more damage because in theory you're really far away and you're going to avoid the damage in the first place. I know I made 18.0.12 sound really good, but it isn't always better. 18.12 is still really good. You get 5% increased damage when they're under 40% health. You get your biscuits, which is 10% longer pot duration, 15 mana and health instantly. On the other side, you get like 2 health per 5 seconds, which isn't great. Like 2 less damage from auto attacks, not great either. The third and the fourth ones are actually what we want though. 8% increase in shields, heals, lifesteal, or regen, or 50 extra health, and the 15% summoner spell cooldown reduction. So basically, to put it really simply, if you have Warlords, the 8% healing extra is really nice late game especially. On immobile AD carries like an Ashe or a Jinx, the flash cooldown up more is actually really good. On the flip side, aggressive champions in lane like Lucian probably want 5% extra damage when they're under 40% health and dangerous game, and Ezreal and Caitlyn probably don't need the flash cooldown to be shorter anyway. They're at range and they're kind of safe. We're also missing on biscuits, and if you suck at trading in lane really hard and you always take a lot of damage, biscuits are probably going to help quite a lot. So that should give you a really good idea, but let's move on to some new runes. These aren't really new, but basically a lot better right now on certain champions. It's a lethality set. I haven't really been using this all season, but lethality is really good right now when you're buffing abilities and auto attacks together. If you mainly auto attack, so like Caitlyn, Twitch, Jinx and stuff, there's no real need. Just get attack speed. It scales so much better into the game. Lethality is an early to mid game stat for abilities, so Draven, Jhin, Misfortune, Varus should be using this set now in my opinion. What we're aiming for really is the rushed Ghostblade and lethality rune combo to make our lane phase insane. That is what this is all about. Between the two of those, we have 34 lethality, which is a lot of arm penetration now. It's really good. You can cheese this with other champions as well if you wanted to, I guess. Like Lucian, maybe Caitlyn for some really sick headshot damage. Headshot lethality crits are nuts, by the way. It's actually really funny. You just have to remember when picking your runes, lethality only becomes super strong, borderline overpowered when it's ignoring armor on your auto attacks and your abilities, and more so your abilities. You can build this on everyone if you want to. You'll do more damage early game, but you won't scale well at all if you rely on auto attacks for your damage. So if you skipped right to the end to the summary, if you haven't watched the entire video, then longsword and 3 pots or refillable is a really good start at the moment if you're rushing a Ghostblade. You'll lose some health, but you spike in power earlier into the game, and this is especially good if you don't use your auto attacks that much because you won't feel the loss in lifesteal. 18.0.12 is also better right now. Flash and heal up more to help with the constant ass pounding AD carries are getting at the moment. We can also get 50 health back in the third tree, which we lost from Doran, so running 18.0.12 and longsword start together is really good. Lethality runes are also very good if you're going to rush a Ghostblade, even better if you're getting a Dustblade at some stage in the game. Just lethality reds adds almost 30 true damage to Dustblade. This isn't all new stuff or anything like that, but it's much better in 7.2. It'll probably stay that way at least for a little while, so I wanted to talk about it because a lot of people aren't using this yet. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and for now, let's go to the robots.